Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Everything you've been taught about the paranormal or research for yourself is packaged as if it's a recent craze, something from movies or late night TV. But that is not the truth. The truth is, people have been seeing these things for thousands of years. They carved them in stone, they wrote about them, they built temples to them. Tonight, I'm going to show you what's been hiding in plain sight. By the end, you'll understand why this isn't fantasy, it's our history and our present. Let's go back to the very first civilizations, the Sumerians, the people who gave us writing, the wheel and mathematics. They wrote about beings from the sky. They called them the Anunnaki, powerful visitors who taught humans laws and knowledge. And these aren't vague myths, they're on clay tablets that you can still see today in museums. In Egypt, scribes recorded a day when circles of fire crossed the sky over the pharaoh's army, a report known today as the Thule Papyrus. In India, the ancient texts describe Vimanas, flying machines with pilots, weapons and even aerial battles. Across continents, across languages, the theme is the same, beings and craft coming from above, interacting with humans. And it's not just stories. Some tribes had knowledge that they shouldn't have had. The Dogon people of Mali told anthropologists that they'd been visited by beings from the Sirius star system. They described a hidden companion star, Sirius B, and it is so faint that we only confirmed it with telescopes in the 20th century. How could they know this without technology? Native American nations speak of star people. Australian Aboriginal stories speak of sky beings. Oral histories, unchanged for centuries, all tell of the same thing: contact with something from above. This didn't stop in the ancient world. In 1561, the people of Nuremberg, Germany, looked up and saw a sky battle of orbs, cylinders and crosses. Hundreds of witnesses. A local printer captured it on a woodcut that you can still see today. In 1566 it happened again in Basel, Switzerland. Black spheres fighting in the sky. These are not ghost stories told in a bar, these are public records from a time before airplanes or satellites, or any modern technology. And here's the key. Humans describe what they see based on their culture. In the ancient world, they called them gods. In the Middle Ages, angels or demons. In the 20th century, aliens. The phenomena hasn't changed, only our words have changed. The lights, the craft, the visitors, they behave the same across time. The pattern is there if you're willing to see it. If it was all fantasy, why are the same patterns recorded in every era on every continent, spanning thousands of years? This is not just folklore or simple whatevers. Modern militaries have been tracking these things for decades. In 2017, the United States Navy admitted its pilots were chasing unidentified aerial phenomena. Objects with no wings, no exhaust, and performing impossible maneuvers. The Pentagon created ATIP, which is AATIP, programmed to study them. Even today, more files are being declassified. The truth is not hiding, it's sitting in official reports, and yet we're told it's nothing. weather balloons and glitches. Ask yourself, if it's nothing, why spend millions to study it? The connection doesn't stop at the sky. Paranormal investigators report that where UFO sightings occur, so do ghost sightings, and lights and orbs, strange creatures, time slips. Everything is connected. Think of the Skinwalker Ranch, for instance, a place where scientists measured radiation spikes, have seen UFOs and orbs with their own eyes, and watched cattle vanish. Bigfoot-like creatures seen near hotspots of UFO activity. Ghosts that communicate, often linked to areas with strong magnetic anomalies. It's as if all these phenomena are different faces of the same underlying reality. From cartoons to religion, from blockbuster movies to children's books, we've been quietly prepared to accept or to ignore the idea of non-human intelligences. Look at how many kids' shows feature friendly aliens, time travel and ghosts. We're trained to think of it as fiction, so that when we encounter the real thing, we dismiss it. That's why skeptics are so sure, not because that they have evidence, but because they've been conditioned. If you call all of this fake, you have to explain the records. Explain the Sumerian tablets, explain the Dogon star knowledge, explain the Nuremberg sky battles, and explain the modern Navy footage. Explain why thousands of credible witnesses, pilots, soldiers, scientists, even risk their careers to tell you what they've seen. To ignore it all, you have to be willfully blind, and that's not skepticism, that's denial. I'm not asking you to believe every story, I'm asking you to look at the evidence, across time, across cultures, and ask, what else could it be? Paranormal isn't a hobby or a Halloween thrill, it's the oldest story that we have. It's happening now, just as it happened then, and it's part of us. History is trying to tell you reality is bigger than you think. The question isn't whether it's real, the question is, when will you finally see it? In December 2017, the New York Times published 3 US naval videos. In 2020, the Pentagon formally confirmed them. These were not leaks, they were public admissions. The craft, called Tic Tacs, show instantaneous acceleration, no wings, no exhaust, 90-degree turns at thousands of miles per hour. Pilots with 15,000 flight hours say we don't have anything like this. The US Department of Defense created a permanent office, AARO, to study these encounters. Congress is holding public hearings. Hard fact, the government of the world's largest military admits these objects are real and unknown. This isn't a YouTube hoax. Now ask yourself, if they're not ours, and they're not China or Russia's, then whose are they? You've been told that's impossible, but physics says otherwise. Energy cannot be destroyed. Consciousness is information. Where does it go after death? Einstein's relativity permits time dilation, wormholes and bending of space-time. The Casimir effect proves vacuum energy can be manipulated in a lab. NASA, DARPA and the United States Navy have found patterns on warp drives and gravity modification. Hard fact, nothing in known physics forbids interdimensional travel, consciousness, survival or craft that move without propulsion. You were never taught this because it would blow open the walls of your worldview. Ancient Sumerians wrote of the Anunnaki, beings from the sky. Hindu texts describe Vimanas, flying cities and weapons. Medieval art shows discs in the heavens. The Dogon tribe of Mali described the star Sirius B before Western science discovered it in 1862. These aren't random coincidences, they're independent records across continents and millennia. Hard fact, humans have always encountered others. We just keep renaming them. This isn't just eyewitness accounts. Instrument records, EMF spikes in active locations, infrasound frequencies causing fear and visual anomalies, radiation spikes coinciding with UAP events, biometric readings of witnesses showing fight or flight responses. Science measures effects even when we can't yet name the cause. Hard fact, the world is reacting to something real. What if ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, strange lights aren't separate? Look at the hotspots like the Skinwalker Ranch, glowing orbs, cryptid sightings, poltergeist activity, radiation spikes, all in one place. Consciousness, energy, and non-human intelligence may be facets of the same field, a hidden layer of reality interacting with ours. This explains why Bigfoot is seen near orbs, why haunted places have UFO activity, and why contact protocols like CE5 seem to work. Hard fact, the phenomena overlaps because they're connected. Project Blue Book closed in 1969, claiming no threat. But declassified documents show the CIA, the NSA, and the DIA never stopped tracking UFOs. Multi-million-dollar black projects like Advanced Aerospace Weapon System Application Program, the AAWSAP, studied Skinwalker Ranch and exotic materials. Former officials like Louis Elizondo and Chris Mellon have testified under oath. Hard fact, you don't spend decades and billions of dollars studying fairy tales. They know they have always known. Real skepticism follows evidence. Denial ignores it. If you still call all this fake, you're saying you know more than radar operators. You know more than Lancet's peer reviewers. You know more than the governments funding classified programs. That's not skepticism, that's blind faith in nothing. Hard fact, the evidence outweighs your disbeliefs. Everything you think is impossible is happening around you right now. The filter you were given is cracking. The evidence is public, the science is catching up. You can keep clinging to the old programming, or you can look at the data and wake up. Because the hidden world isn't hidden anymore. It's here, it's real, and it's part of you. If you've been following along, you already know ghosts, UFOs, strange creatures, and lights in the sky. They aren't random stories, they aren't coincidences, and they certainly aren't just in people's heads. The truth is, it's all connected. Science already tells us time is not straight. It bends, it stretches, it breaks apart around gravity and speed. That means what you call past and future are already happening right now. So, when someone sees a ghost, maybe it isn't the spirit of the dead, maybe it's a bleed through in time, a glimpse across the veil. When people meet aliens, maybe they're not coming from another planet, maybe they're stepping in from another dimension. In dreams, deja vu, near-death experiences, that's your consciousness reminding you you're more than a body, you're a being that exists beyond time and space. Every culture on Earth speaks of the sky people. The Sumerians wrote about gods descending from the heavens in flying ships. The Mayans carved beings with helmets and machines. Egyptians drew discs in the sky and called them the boats of Ra. Now ask yourself, why do all cultures, separated by oceans, language, and centuries, tell the same story? Because they were all talking about the same thing. The pyramids, Stonehenge, Nazca lines, they're not just monuments, they're markers, coordinates, messages left behind. We call them mysteries because we're afraid to admit the simple truth, but our ancestors had help. Now, let's fast forward. Roswell, 1947, a weather balloon. That's the official story. But decades later, even military witnesses are saying, no, it wasn't a balloon, it was something else. The CIA ran remote viewing programs, teaching soldiers how to leave their bodies and spy across the planet. And guess what? They shut the program down, but the documents are declassified. It's real. And today, the United States government admits UFOs exist. They call them UAPs now. Pilots are reporting them, videos are being released, and they defy physics. The same governments that laughed at us for decades are now saying, yes, they're here. If they hid the truth for 70 years and are only now admitting it, what else are they hiding? Ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, shadow people, strange lights, missing time. We've been taught to see them as separate entities, but they're not. They're all threads of the same web. A UFO encounter with lost time is the same as a ghost encounter where hours vanish. A poltergeist moving objects in the same force people describe when UFOs interfere with electronics. A cryptid appearing then vanishing without a trace. That's dimensional bleed through again. They're not separate mysteries, they're different faces of the same phenomena. But you've been conditioned since birth to dismiss all of this. Cartoons, aliens are goofy green men, movies, ghosts are demons, UFOs invade, Bigfoot's a joke, religion, angels and demons are allowed, but anything else is hearsay. You've been told the truth your whole life, but it's been dressed up as fiction. Why? Because if you know it was real, if you understood the power that you have, you couldn't be controlled. So they gave you the truth as a bedtime story. Here's the part that the skeptics fear the most. We are not weak. Telepathy has been tested and documented. Remote viewing was proven. People can heal, sense, and even move matter in tiny scales. That's not magic, that's human potential. Aliens, ghosts, they're just beings who mastered consciousness better than us. And that means the real question isn't do they exist, the real question is what are we capable of once we wake up? So let me ask you this. Are you really going to keep calling this fake? Every culture agrees, science hints at it, governments admit it, the evidence is everywhere. To deny it now isn't skepticism, it's blindness. But the truth is simple. We are not alone. We never were. And deep down, you've always known it. So, you've made it this far. If you're still listening, it's because some part of you already knows the story we've been given isn't the full story. The question isn't whether the strange things are real, it's why we've been shown pieces of them and who benefits from keeping the rest hidden. Ancient texts whisper about beings who came down from the heavens not once but many, many times. Some taught, some ruled, and some warned. Modern science looks at our DNA and calls most of it junk. But why would nature waste code? What if that junk isn't broken? It's locked. Every mystic tradition says the same thing. You are more than you think you are. Every whistleblower says the same thing. We've been engineered not to see it. So ask yourself, what kind of species builds monuments that line up with the stars and then forgets why? Quantum physics shows a universe made of information, energy that only collapses when observed. You're not living in reality, you're participating in its construction. Ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, maybe they're not just visitors, maybe they're cracks in the code. Maybe the universe is trying to tell you the rules aren't fixed. If that's true, then the real secret isn't they're here. The real secret is you've always had the same power. Why the rush of sightings, disclosures, leaks, official footage? Why now? Because we're at a crossroads. Technology, climate change, war, awakening, everything's converging. We're either about to crash or about to evolve. The ones out there aren't just showing up randomly, they're signalling, testing, waiting to see which way we jump. Here's the final red pill. You've been raised to laugh at ghosts, aliens, Bigfoots, angels, all of it. But what if that was never the point? The point was to keep you from seeing your own potential, to keep you from realising you're not a spectator, you're a creator. If that's true, then every time you doubt yourself, every time you obey the script, you're locking the cage from the inside. But you can also unlock it. So here we are. The rabbit hole doesn't end with UFOs and ghosts or ancient gods. It ends with you and me. Because if reality itself is connected, then so are you. If they can cross time and space, so can you. If they know the truth, so can you. You are not weak, you are not small, you are not alone. The only question left is, are you ready to remember who you are? The truth isn't out there. The truth is inside you. You've seen the signs, you've felt the pull. The veil is thin and the time is now. You are not a passenger, you are the navigator. And the only real question left is, will you wake up?